topic they like to talk about? No? Great. I'll say my goodbyes. So nice to see you, Mike. See you later. Bill, Churchman. We got, David.
Angie got her hand up.
Oh, Angie. Angie has saved the day. What's the question?
You're muted, Angie.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So my question is, why the need for community? So why am I here tonight?
I don't know. Why not? Yeah.
That's the question. I feel like, there's been a lot of deepening of understanding and from experiential understanding as well. Yet it kind of, there's still some sort of need to be here and to listen to the message over and over. And I just don't understand why that clinging to the message itself or to the community.
Well, maybe it's just you're joined with the message in the community, not clinging. Clinging is already quite of a jam-packed judging word, eh? Yeah, maybe you enjoy the community and you enjoy satsang. I mean, it's called the association with truth. Yeah, maybe you like to rub shoulders with other people. Yeah, yeah. I would, if you feel like you need to do something, it's good that you can do it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
And then you'll probably lose the need to do it, and then you'll like to do it. Yeah. And then you'll just like meeting people here and sitting in the space and, yeah. It's sort of like sitting on a park bench. You just sit there, hear the noises, see people, see things happening. Yeah. So, but yeah, maybe here in one way, the action figure needs a sense of belonging. Yeah. So the mental idea wants to starve the action figure for some fucking righteous, weird reason. But basically, maybe it just, you need a sense of belonging. And now you've recognized that by getting a sense of belonging. Usually that's how you come to the recognition. So now the action figure feels a little better, a little more balanced, a little more holistic, which is part and parcel of the traveling lighter, really. Yeah. So you're getting a lot of needs met while you're thinking you're looking for something else. Yeah. Yeah. So it's nice to see you, Angie. I'm happy you're here. So how's that?
So not that I think there's something wrong, but I just don't feel like I need to be here, but yet it's happening. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's probably most of the time. Yeah. Yeah. It's just happening. So I understand that my head doesn't go there. I'd rather just, this stuff is, I don't see any conflict with any of that. Yeah, but I've had met in my other community, recovery and stuff, I've seen that people have certain conflicts that I may not have. I may have other ones that they don't have. Yeah. And I understand it, but I don't have the sense of the volume of it. Yeah. It just
Yeah.
doesn't seem that. Yeah. So if I like to do something, I do it. You know, I never sat down and I never sat in a wave thinking I was clinging. Well, I was clinging onto the board, but it was basically for survival. It wasn't, I just liked to surf. So I just did as much as I could. Never really asked why. I mean, it just seemed, it just seemed to be working. So I just kept doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I'm happy to see you, Angie. I missed everybody, and maybe you're here for other people. Yeah, maybe I'm happy to see you. So therefore, you're being of service, need or no. Yeah, yeah.
Not that it needs a purpose, but thank you.
Well, yes, and you know, there's the I view or the me view, and then sometimes in recovery, they throw out this we view, and it really humbles you because the that habitual seeing everything as how it pertains to us is just goes on and on. It's nice to throw a wrench in the works and realize, you know, I'm not here at a meeting to get something. I'm here to express something. Yes. I'm not I'm not trying to get anything. Yeah. When I go to an AA meeting, I'm there to be of service. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. And that's getting something. Yeah. So all right, thanks, Angie. Thanks for starting it
you.
off.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah. Thanks, Angie. Gary's got his hand up. Hi, Gary.
Have you ask a question without the word why in it. That would be good. Yeah. All right.
You know what comes to mind as soon as you say that, but I won't say it, even though the first thing. Anyway, no, what I was gonna comment on is I was listening to a video of yours while you were away, and you started out with a reading about saying something like 99% of the thoughts that are thought are about a you that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And you changed it a little bit, you know, because it was, anyway, you made it a little more pure. You know, it's about a you that doesn't exist. And that really struck home to me. It's like, because it seems like there's a trying to find like a safe place in all that thinking. And when you said it that way, I was like, well, there's no safe place in it. There's no place to hang out in that thinking. You know, it's sort of like Jesus said, the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. And that 99% of the thoughts, which is, you know, all of them, aren't any place to hang my hat. They're not a safe hangout, if you will. So it's sort of like hearing that, I just went, oh, nothing to try for then, is there?
Yeah, great. Well, it's the message is disarming, so sometimes you're standing at attention ready to be called to arms, and then you get the effect of it as a disarming. So it's like a relaxing or or an exhale.
Yeah.
Yes, after a while, you're pretty much disarmed. So, you know, yeah. I mean, there's these ideas. These ideas galvanize sooner or later. Like in recovery, they use a statement, being convinced, quite a lot as a requirement, especially in the beginning of entering into recovery from the underlying causes and conditions that drove you to drink and to use whatever. So it'd always be the first requirement they would set up is being convinced, and then they would say something. Yeah, so they would go, being convinced, self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. We will now look at its, meaning self's, common manifestations. And then the next paragraph was resentment. And so it set off on an inventory process where you would look at what you would call your resentments, but what they're stating is their resentments. Yeah, they're not yours. Yeah, they're manifestations of this activity of self. So this is an unusual statement because it's going against the habitual logic. Yes, that whatever's coming through Paul is done by Paul. Yes, so it's so
Okay.
there's not a recognition that something is moving through you other than you, and that before all of that there's something other than you that's moving through you called you. So you finally start seeing the origins of the addiction. Yeah, and there's a point where you're convinced. Yeah, you've heard a new understanding and you're convinced that the manifestations of self that I was calling mine are definitely not mine. You've hit a critical point where something has been convinced. And now that's a done deal. There's no unconvincing it at that point. Yeah. It's not like a constant reconvincing. It's a being convinced becomes a present tense state. Yeah. So you're in a state of being convinced. How are you constantly in that state of being convinced? Because you're aware of the selfing.
Yeah.
Selfing keeps convincing you you're not that. That's what happens.
There it goes again.
Yes, exactly. It keeps convincing you. So you're constantly in a state of being convinced because what's appearing in the head is what you're not. Yeah, it's an activity that's implying something that isn't true. Yeah. So you now become, your day-to-day living is a state of being convinced of what you're not. Yeah. Instead of trying to be convinced of what you are, which being what you are needs no convincing. You see, you don't need to be convinced of what you already are. You need to be convinced about what you're not. Yeah. It's simple. So now you're in this state of being, which means a present tense condition. Being convinced, it says finally you were convinced or you're working towards, you will be convinced. No, it's a capturing of a present tense state, which is the awareness of what you're not, because that's what you're aware of, is what you're not. Everything called a thought, every whatever is not you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a point. You don't have to watch the river. You know it's the river. You know what I mean? There's a point where you're convinced of the Colorado River. You don't have to walk another mile to see, oh, that's the Colorado River. No, there's a point where you may have only seen 2 miles of it, and it's going to stretch thousands of miles, but you're convinced it's the Colorado Rivering after a mile. Yeah. You know, so now every other mile you walk, you're in the state of being convinced of the Colorado River because it's rivering. Yeah. So this is the same way. You're being convinced about what you're not. Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of, see, the problem with us is most of us have assumed we're something, and that became our starting point. And that was given the assumption and the fact that it was us, which it wasn't, and it isn't. Yeah. And so we wanted to become convinced of I'm the spirit, I'm this, I'm that, from what we're not, which could never occur because you're attempting to convince yourself that you're the spirit was reinforcing the other idea. Yeah. So basically, it's got to be a turnaround. If you keep chanting you're not a body as a body, the chanting you're not a body is reinforcing the identification as the body. It's going completely against the grain of where you think it's taking you. It's doing the opposite. I mean, extremely. Yeah. So this idea of, oh, I've got to have first, certain people get into spirituality, and after being in spirituality for a while, they come to a conclusion that really spirituality should be a demonstration. There should be a kundalini or an energetic something or a burning bush or a fucking energetic insertion because you had enough of all the hours of sitting and shit like that. You want to see some results, man. You want to be electrified. You want to be as bright as the noonday sun or someone else's. And so you didn't start out that way, but just doing what from this whole mistake of spirituality, it leads you to that point. Yeah. All right. So then you meet somebody who's in an embodiment of the Kundalini, super fucking bright, light inversion all the time, and they tell you it hasn't meant a damn thing. So in one swoop second, you can be convinced completely that it ain't that either. And then it's done. Yeah. You're not reading the last chapter about Kundalini. You just realized it. Yeah. The convincing became a present tense state. Yeah. So that whole like tributary that you could get lost down just dries up. Yeah. And instead of trying to find a new source of ocean, you just return or you fall back into the true source of ocean, which is us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the head constantly can be convincing you you're not that, where before it seemed to convince you you were that. Yeah. We're just switching the bottom line, so to speak. The numbers are the same. Yeah. But instead of them appearing as 4,000 with a plus, we now have a negative before the 4,000. Yeah. So 4,000 thoughts were about me was like 4,000 plus. Now the negation of you as the thinker with 4,000 thoughts is now a negative symbol before the 4,000. Don't you see it?
I'm watching it.
It's completely different. You're arriving, it's not through addition, but through subtraction. Because the whole point of non-duality is you are already where you want to end up. So there's no need for addition. It doesn't work. But now you subtract, yes? It's like there's not you, but there's a subtraction of every inch and every moment that's been put between you and you, yes? And all the additions get negated, yeah? So you're not adding more delusion, you're negating whatever's there, and then eventually it runs out and here you are. And when you seemingly arrive at here you are, it tells you you've always been here. It tells you you've always been here. Yes? The journey isn't a special journey. It's the end of all journeys. It doesn't say, okay, this road was a dead end, but I got a feeling to know. You realize all roads are dead ends. Yeah. So now you're here, you get over the main topic, which is here and now. You're just never not here and now. You're not thinking, have I left the moment? Or I think I've got to get into the moment. You don't have any of that going on. It's just gone, completely gone. You're just here because there's nowhere else you could be. Yeah. The negation has gone so far. Yeah. It's a negation to a point. Yeah. And then you're the living affirmation of what you're trying to mentally affirm by all these activities. You're the living affirmation of it. The sense of you as being is the living affirmation. Yeah. The negation has done its work. Yeah. Yes.
I've been doing what you're talking about because Gary's mind is trying to grasp what you're saying as you're throwing all these things at me, and I come almost immediately to, I can't catch any of this. I can't
That's
catch
right.
any of it.
That's right, because the mental logic has a predetermined direction. It's off. It can't correct itself. It just keeps geometrically progressing in the offness. You just admit the failure of the system that you've relied on, not you. There's just been a reliance on it, yeah? Sorry the language, but it's
yeah.
objective language used by objects, you know? So, yes, yeah. So you're frustrated as hell, hallelujah. This could be the last time you're ever frustrated around a spiritual conundrum. I swear, it could be the end. You may be frustrated about losing the keys for the 8th time or whatever, but it could be over. Yeah, it could be bye-bye. Yeah. You've realized you are being convinced that what you're looking through can't see what's looking. It's just that freaking simple.
So being convinced is a present tense thing. It's being condensed in the moment. Yeah, it's happening.
Where
even
else
now.
can you be convinced? Yeah, you can be convinced thoroughly in the past. That doesn't do shit. It's being convinced. Yes, that's the whole point of the message. The message is to become convinced of all the misunderstandings. Yeah? To become convinced that they're misunderstandings. And to have, it's just like my friend got in touch with me. Yeah. Now he's been in this odyssey for years of getting divorced from a woman. I knew them both, you know, and they have 4 kids and stuff like that. And so he calls me up, and every time he goes to court, he tells me, I got all the evidence in the world. He loses every time. Every time he goes to court. So now he's got this thing where he's going to get a peace bond, or I go to court. And, I want justice. I didn't do anything. I said, you've lost every time. Take the peace bond, whatever it is, because what it's going to demand is good for you. Don't go near this person for the next year. I said you should get one for 5 years. Don't make any contact with her and don't go near her. Yeah. But he says, no, I think I'm going to take that. I've talked to you for 5 years now. You've lost every freaking time. Every time you tell me, I can't believe it, I have a dead to right, you lose somehow. Don't go to court. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. So he was in a state where he knew there was something he knew that he didn't want to know, which was he shouldn't go to court.
Yeah.
He knew that, but he didn't want to know it. So the head didn't want to know it, but he knew it. So I played the role of the non-head and told them, you've lost every time in 5 years. You know what I mean? Don't go to court again. You're going to go to jail or something else going to happen. Yeah. So this is it. I'm saying to you, there's a state in you that's constantly being convinced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now there's a mental state that likes to ride over that and override it. But if there's any stopping, you'll be right there. Yes.
Mm.
When the head, not you stop, because when the head stops, you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel most of us, Jesus Christ, man. We're like pantomiming like we've lost something that we haven't lost with the hope of finding it. It's sort of like, I mean, you felt around the neck, the necklace is there. Yeah. And now you're convinced that it's always been there, instead of convinced that you had lost it and now you're having the great joy of finding it. No, feeling the necklace tells you it's always been there now. It doesn't tell you, oh, I just found it. No, when you feel the necklace, it's always been there. Yes? The other little mental charades is over. Yeah, yeah. But I felt like I was bummed out when I lost it. Yes, this is dreaming. And I felt like I had a lot of joy when I found it. Yes, this is dreaming. Dreaming is not factual. You just feel shit and you have senses of things that aren't even close to being true. Yeah? Yes, so there you go, bro. I'm happy you don't get it, Gary. The best news you could have heard today. You would thank the soup Nazi. No soup for you, bro. You should thank it great, graciously, yes.
At least there may have no more. I don't know.
Yeah, I never say anything. Just rested the being convinced. Yeah.
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 Well, yeah, that thing you said about, I guess you said it, it's like, and the system never stops being the system. It's always going to try to go ahead and, oh, now I get it. Oh, maybe if I try harder, maybe I'll look again. It's constantly, maybe if I could just concentrate more on what Paul says.
Yes, you should be clear about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can become overly abusive. I think you've passed that point. So just, yeah. It's just, you're clear of it. You're clear now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not abusive. It's funny.
Now it's funny. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't want to hear it sometimes. Don't tell me that there's no way out, or, the end is, but yeah, if it's really the end, wow, what a break. What a break.
We should play that Doors song every night. This is the end.
This is the end. My only friend, the end.
Just say it once and then silence. Wait a minute. There's not 30 more choruses. No, this is the end. That's it. The rest of your life now goes on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You can listen to Paul for the rest of the hour and you won't get it.
Oh, that's for sure. You already have it. How can you get it? You already are it. How can you get it? It's impossible. Yeah?
Yeah. But it's like you said, it's the noticing that thing that tries to get it again is the proof that it doesn't get it.
Yes, it doesn't get it. Self can't get out of self. Self never gets, self can't get out of self.
It doesn't.
No, it just doesn't. So you might as well. Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. And it's not an essential thing for it to be convinced. You're wasting your time on that level. Yes?
Yes.
Just recognize its failure, its myopicness, and yeah, you'll
but
stop.
It's good to see its trip. Like, oh, because constantly saying, oh, now I understand what he says. Now I can apply that. No, man, that's its trip. It always does that. It always tries to adopt what the latest, greatest is. And
yes.
That's just what it does.
Yes, it does. And it's not you. So you don't need to be beholden to it. Yeah. And basically, framed as not you, there's going to be a loss of interest in it. It's just that simple. We prove that every day when we hear something that isn't about us, we pretty much lose interest in it. Yeah. Really. The same thing happens here. So once you see the activity of selfing as not you nor about you, there's a loss of interest in it. And that interest will now enrich your day instead of enslave your day. Yeah. Just that simple. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. We'll move on to the
Thanks.
next square.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
I like how we can be happy together about how we can't get it. how we can understand each other about that.
Yeah. That's the association with truth.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nobody gets it.
Oh, I was going to try a little experiment, but no. Andy Walker has his hand up.
NDW.
Hi, Paul.
Nice
Others.
back.
How's it going?
Good, good.
So you just talked about, Gary, you were talking about loss of interest. And I want to dig into that a little bit. You know, you talk about loss of interest as an effect. In other words, it's an effect of this, I don't know, this process. What about, you know, loss of interest, you know, using it as like a cause? In other words, so this action figure, you know, seems to be attracted to things in the world, something going on in the world. You know, first of all, let me just say this action figure has lost a lot of interest, but there's still things in the world that grab the attention of the action figure. And so sometimes, you know, something will pop up and I might say to myself, hey, you know, someone like Paul Hedderman, he would just turn, you know, he wouldn't be interested in this. It would just not capture his interest, yet it's capturing my interest, right? And I'm interested in it. And so I have a choice. I can say, you know, just let that interest play out and continue to, you know, and let this go, you know, through a natural process. Or I can say, no, I'm just gonna, you know, through causation, turn away and just turn my attention away from it, because I just don't, you know, I don't want this distraction. So do you understand my question about?
Yes.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the loss of interest is about both those avenues.
Both cause and effect.
Yes, you don't lose, you're not, yeah. You just lose interest in both of those. Yeah. That's been my expression. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not interested, you know, if I'm whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I would imagine if it works, work it. Yeah. But I don't have the gumption to get into. To me, interest in a way is more like a river, and it has a current. I really don't want to change the current. I just take something else much larger going on while these little currents keep changing and stuff. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like the currents are movements in the water, but the water has its own quality. So I don't have that much interest in directing interest away from worldly things or putting interest somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah. Like that, it's like the losing interest in the whole kit and caboodle, so to speak. It's not losing interest selectively. It's just losing interest in all the ideas of losing interest selectively. Yeah, it's like it's a, yeah. It's not in that frame. It's, let's say here, it's not a loss of interest in one of the squares. It's a loss of interest in all of the squares because they're in a square. Yeah, yeah. So I hope that doesn't help, but there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's hard to really express loss of interest because everyone's interested. So it's hard not to use that moment as an example to the idea of what's not loss of interest. Yeah. Have you ever really just lost a lot of interest in certain things, and some of them you never went back to? It was sort of like it never, like when I got struck sober, there was a sufficient enough loss of interest where I haven't had to this point a strong thought or feeling about getting loaded for over 34 years. That's incredible because there was a whole lot of interest in getting loaded. Like unbelievable, I would say interest to an obsessive degree, like a dog that was never not hunting. It was always hunting. To have that topic have a monumental loss of interest where that radioactive isotope, that urge that drove everything, just to have it redirected was just mind-boggling. Yeah. Now it didn't mean I wasn't uncomfortable. I was pretty. The action figure needed a lot of recovery, but the basic like atom of the addiction had been removed. Yeah. Yeah. So there was a huge loss of interest that basically allowed the sober life to continue for 30 something years, really. Yeah. Yeah. So I've seen the effects of loss of interest in my life. Yeah. The non-duality one didn't take a form of a miracle like getting struck sober, but it has the same, its subtlety is unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I had to be interested in shit. Yeah, you do for things to happen, but in non-duality, there's nothing needs to happen. So the interest in making things happen is part of the problem, so to speak. Yes. So we're interested in understanding, and that's causing us not to get we can't understand. Yeah. So this is why we talk about loss of interest in these meetings. Because our whole way, the action figure's way of living is being interested or is being attractive or repelled, yes? And it feels like I'm attracted to things I want to move towards, but in this case, you're wanting to move towards it doesn't work, yeah? Because you already are it. You know what I mean? So playing around with the interest and getting it lined up doesn't work. And it's the change of interest is definitely an effect that you notice. There's no causation to it. Things just change, and you notice that you don't have any interest in a topic that you used to have a lot of interest in. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I can say it better, but it's it's part of the working mechanism that doesn't work when it's concerning what we are. Yeah. You can't use that drive to learn and understand and to grok something that's outside of you to what you are. It goes against it. That's why it's different than almost everything else, where it's very non-duality. The message of non-duality is very disarming. It's not a call to arms. It's not girding the loins. It's not, sharpening your concentration. It's more relaxed awareness when the effort and the thought has stopped, and the aperture just opens up like a sphincter, just opens up. Yeah. Yeah. You're wanting to open it up, and this and that was causing us a constipation in a weird way. So, yeah. Yeah. So, anyone else?
Not at the moment. Anybody want to raise their hand? I'll mention how I do like, obviously, coming to these meetings, the creative strumming of the duality, right? Like, so you can't express loss of interest, but there's just like, well, you can hit a guitar string and it makes a fun sound trying to balance the two, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you can talk about interest,
Yeah.
and then it's a negation of that, a loss of interest. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's not interest disguised as a loss of interest. It's not that. That's a tricky maneuver. It's not that. It's a loss of interest, really. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the only topic that it's appropriate because you are what you're looking for. So obviously the looking for it has some role somehow that's producing, some kind of obscuring factor. Yes. So the look, if you are what you're looking for, the effect is going to be shown on the looking for it. Yeah, it's not going to be, I'm studying more about myself. No, I'm studying, what the hell? I'm not that which is looking for it. You know what I mean? Because I am what it's looking for. So basically, yeah.
Mhm.
So obviously the direction is going to be a subtraction or a loss of interest. Yeah, you can't apply it to everything. It applies to the sense of beingness. Yeah. This is the difference of non-duality. It doesn't say you were something or you're a drop of the ocean and you're going to merge with the ultimate larger ocean. It basically says you are being ourselves reality, which is a present tense condition. That's the assumption that Ramana puts out, So being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality being ourselves, wanting to attain reality. That's it. Yeah. So all right, I want to get to LA. I want to do this. I want to do that. Interest, appropriate. Yeah. I want to find out what I already am. Interest, not appropriate. Yeah. You see? It's a whole different value scheme because it's about being what we are. It's not about becoming what we are, yeah? Or becoming a better version of what we are. It's basically flat out saying the stock version right now is what you are, yeah? So what's going to happen? You're going to lose interest in looking for it, obviously. Yeah, because you would see that interest in looking for it is the deterrent. Yes, as Ramana explained in that presupposing the non-existent thing, and then what's presupposed is that it's existing, and then wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. If that's the case, which the way he prefaced it as quite important, it's probably the case. Your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing, how can they destroy it? It's just this, yeah. You can't say that if there was a goal that you were going to arrive at. Yes? But because you are what you're looking for, its logic is seamless. Based on that fact, the logic of negation of non-duality is seamless based on the fact that you and I are what you were looking for. Yeah? Now, if you don't believe that, or if you're not interested in that, you know, you're like looking for like a chainsaw in a library, you know, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. And so the spiritual journey, in a way, has to be deflated, and that interest has to be allowed to escape. Yeah. Because it's doing something that we're not aware of. It's reinforcing that which we would like to escape from. Yeah. But we want to escape as. Yeah. So the loss of interest is a very good sign. Yeah. That something is finally landed, that you've recognized the futility of using what you are to look for what you are. Yeah. You've recognized the futility of trying to have an experience of what is on a realm of being. Yeah. You've come to the futility, and you've come to a stop about that. Yeah. And now the interest gets directed completely different than the mental direction of the interest. Yeah. And I feel that interest now enriches your day, where to make a contrast, the attention being directed by the mental state enslaves your day to time, especially what's not happening, and all this and that. Yeah. So this topic is unique because it's about what we actually are right now. And yeah. So anyone else, Mike?
Yeah, David has his hand up.
David.
David down under, yes.
G'day, Paul. Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here. Listen, Paul, I just wanted to touch on one thing with you. I think you've said it a few times, but you've said fear is a valid emotion. So what I wanted to, in the last month or so, I can't remember the exact time, I've had, I know they're molehills now, but they were great mountains. They seemed like great mountains at the time, a few of them, where I thought I was very fearful, like I was really scared, petrified, like someone sort of feels like someone's got a gun to your head. But then I couldn't work out if it was, I think it might have been me. I say this, I'll get the words wrong, but I think it might have been me slipping into small mind, or the foggy glasses coming on down in these given situations. And I sort of went into a self-protection mode and did some stuff that I don't like doing. So anyway, I just sort of wanted to ask, like, fear being a valid emotion versus anxiety and all this. And I get a little bit in those type of situations, I get a little bit mixed up. I'd be a useless soldier with bullets flying around my head. Let me tell you, I wouldn't know what to be feeling.
So yeah. The thing is, there's fear, but there's no one that has the fear. Yes, you see, we're not negating that moment of fear, physically, nervous system, everything like that. What we're negating is the assumption that there's someone having it. Yes, right. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times, let's say like when we got ill in Italy, I had a couple hour period of the chest being on fire. I mean, extreme, and it went past the limit the head can usually take, and then the head basically humbly stops because it's powerless. Yeah. And it doesn't have to argue with it anymore. It's been in this condition many times. So there you are, awake, and all the sensations are occurring, and the system is on overload, and the captain of the system has admitted it can't drive the ship, basically. Yeah. So basically, right then and there, to me, grace is like the seatbelt. Yeah. So now again, the system it's overcooked, yet something's still going on, and you're awake. You're aware of it. Yes. There's no thoughts anymore. It's just sensation, and this captain has left the helm. So it's nowhere to be found, and so there you are. Yeah. And there isn't a person that can get up or go. There's just an awareness of this brilliant fire going on that so the system was generated in fear, definitely, of mortality, which in the I've had many experiences, fortunately or unfortunately, in this life as an action figure, to be put at that point over and over again, where the captain just jumps ship. Yeah. It's just basically, this is above my pay scale. And then you just go through the sensations, and I know, you don't know if you're going to be going or coming. It's just, that's the way it goes. Yeah. But the beautiful thing about it is when there isn't that added sense of suffering, of being the one that this shouldn't be happening to, or the one, what did I do to cause, all this shit. That, it's funny how that leaves when the captain leaves. Yeah. When the captain jumps ship, a lot of that shit could jump ship with him, with it. So you just sit there, and here I am. So I made it through, but there was no one that was guiding the boat. It was just, all hands on deck with the surrender sign. And then just there I went, and I didn't pass away, and it dropped down, and the captain came back, put his hat on again, and started to try to drive the boat.
It's funny because in the last couple 2 or 3 days I've been feeling great. There was and the situation that I'm talking about hasn't changed at all that much, really, or the situation. But the last few days, one big thing that the captain tries to do to me is make me feel guilty all the time,
Oh,
And
yeah, but then that's what it does, yeah? So you get used to seeing it after a while, and what's going to be made of it isn't up to you. You just see it, and then sooner or later, there's usually a critical mass is met. And I have gone over the line a lot where you're abandoned by the head. It's just dumb ship. And
I love it when the head abandons me. It's great.
you know what I mean? It's just
Either
jump
way.
ship. It has. And every
like
time
I
it comes back, it's more transparent than ever, and it can't overcome its own fraudulence. Yes. I I mean,
yeah, yeah, I wish I hadn't have done some things I did, like I said, but I honestly don't have any guilt about it because I really,
yes, yeah. And if you did something, you can make amends. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
like,
also what you've taught me here sort of thing is like, to me, I look at that in the way of life's just totally happening. I don't have a call over it really. Like I have some morals and I think I know good from bad, what I should do. My whole life I've known that, but every now and again I've done things I shouldn't do. But I know that when I've done those things, it's not, I fucking know that it's not me doing it. And that's not a cop out. That's I'm not
Yeah.
saying, oh, I can do anything I want because it's not me, you know. But that's how I feel about it anyway. Yeah. I got animated then, but it's not anxiety. I'm quite happy. Yeah.
well, I always just, it's always again what you're not. Yeah. So, yeah. And here we're in Rome. So you do as the Romans do. If my dog shits on the neighbor's lawn, I have to clean it up. I don't spend the next 30 years feeling guilty about shitting on the neighbor's lawn. It wasn't me, it was the dog. So the action figure does a lot of stuff. And yeah, so hey, make amends and yeah. But I'll tell you,
Anyway,
I've had
thanks
so
for that.
many moments as a physical, the action figure, that there's no one's driving the boat. It's just this whole idea of something has it together and is gonna, it's just yeah. This is like the wild, wild west every second. You might as well find peace in the insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the storm, there's always the eye of the storm. Yes. The eye. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, thanks heaps, Paul, and thanks to everyone else here too, because and I don't say this that often, but sometimes I come here wanting to ask a question, and then someone else will start talking, and the question will just get answered, and it's lovely. In a weird way, it's like, oh well, that's exactly how I feel, exactly how they are, and it's nice to know you're in a bit of a club with the same sort of thoughts and stuff. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, and you too, Paul. Thank you.
Well, thank you, bro. It's good to hear from you again. All right, anyone else, or we're gonna close shop or something?
Thanks, David. And let me see. Oh, and Chesta said, you asked the same question I would have asked. Thank you. So there you go. And no other hands up.
I have to admit, when David speaks sometimes, I have to sort of just assume I heard something. I can't understand it all the time, but I thought I got it, most of the meat, so I felt.
Because of his Aussie accent?
Yeah, from the accent sometimes.
That's my way of giving you nothing back, Paul.
Yeah. So this is, hey, but it doesn't matter. Just fake it till you make it. I hope someone's not telling me their dear one passed away, and I hear, you know,
Oh God,
lost the whole thing of it. Yeah.
Oh, and just so you know, Nick B, little Nick, was here, had his hand up, but just left. So.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll be seeing Nick. I hope Saturday.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah. We're gonna have live talk on Saturday at the church. So.
Oh, right. So I should put that up, huh?
Yeah. I hope so. I'm going anyway.
Okay.
1 o'clock. So hey. Yeah. Anyone else?
No hands.
Oh, that's good. Let's say goodbye then, eh? You think?
Okay.
This has been a juicy little meeting anyway. Yeah. All right, so let's say hello to Tim. Nice to see you, Tim. You went to seed a little bit there, Tim, eh? Yeah, the clean cut look is gone, eh? Yeah. We got Robert French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to see Robert all the time. Very nice. William, I
Thanks,
hope you're
Paul.
traveling a little lighter. Tim, yeah, I didn't recognize you. Yeah. We got Linda, LY. Nice to see you, Linda. Yeah. Craig May, fantastic. Thanks, Craig, for all your shares in the past. Esteban, I'm here, Esteban. That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Very good.
All right. We got Gary C. Thank you, Gary. We got Sherry. Always a pleasure to see Sherry. Yep. We got Stefan on having never left. Andy is in a beautiful virtual forest. Very nice. Kathleen. We got Hari. There she is. I said the word Hari and Amelia woke up. Yeah, there we go. Nice to see you, Hari. All's well? Yes. Yeah. Angie. Always a pleasure to see Angie again. Alan, thank you for your donations. And Brahmi. Oh, Brahmi's back in India. Fantastic. Miss Amelia, she's went back to sleep. Susanna W. Who's this? Cheshev, I think. I don't know if I got it right. Oh, there, so he's appeared. Nice to see you. Yes. Kathleen, we got Susan K. I think I saw Taj somewhere. Taj is here. Yep. Lost him maybe. I think that's about it. I hope Kathleen, confused and happy, always good state. Bill Churchman. Let me go back to this. Oh yeah, now we got David here. I've seen everyone in this page. Let's see, I got this page and I got this page. Well, listen, nice to see everyone. I'll see you Saturday. Some people tomorrow at the AA thing, Thursday. Everything's on the website. I think it's all up to date. And yeah, thanks for coming. Nice to see you, Hari, everyone. Stefan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks,
Mark.
Mike.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Mike.